Thanks for having us. As you said, my name is Florian Birner. I'm one of the co-founders of the Planeteers. And yeah, jumping in directly, I think the global task is quite known to us all, bringing a little bit more realistic feeling into the big numbers game, what we are all discussing in the future. Quite recently, the president of the World Bank, AG Bank, stated that in the next 15 years, around about 800 million people will be moving from the global south to the north due to climate impacted job-related needs to move their social habitat. And I think this is a quite interesting information regarding how urgent the topic will be. It's not about it's getting more warm or more cold or wet in the areas, so it's quite interesting where we're moving towards it. And it's great to see a lot of startups, a lot of investors, a lot of people moving into this kind of industry. And this is actually our journey as well, beginning in 2022, where we started it. And as you said correctly, we challenged ourselves to identify a process, a technology where we capture and store CO2. By doing so, we produce mineralized water in the end of the day and store it permanently in the ocean, which is one of the biggest, by far the biggest in the end of the day, storage platform what we have on our planet. And you also mentioned correctly that we looked into the nature, because in the end of the day, there's a perfectly fine working process. It's called the limestone weathering process. The raindrop falls through the air, takes on the CO2, collides with a mountain, with a rock formation, and reacts to bicarbonate. And due to the river systems, it will be washed out into the oceans. This is a perfectly working process, and is mainly the reason why we have the climate which is currently on the planet. Unfortunately, the process takes very, very long. So we asked ourselves, can we take a process like this and advance it? And luckily, we found a solution for that. By taking the same ingredients, that means limestone, water, and CO2. We can put it through our reactor system and bring down the process, which takes in the nature thousands of years, into minutes. And therefore, that is a technology we basically scale it. The difference is mainly that we go to point sources. We don't go directly to the air. We go to the point sources because of the percentage of CO2 is way higher on the process point of view. And this is basically the same behavior, and bringing down the end product is the same as Mother Nature does it into the oceans and the river systems back. And our journey started very technically, very engineers-likely, by simulating a lot of theoretically approaches from the chemistry point of view. And we saw a couple of points where it does make sense from a commercial point of view to look deeper, and we produced a prototype. First a lab reactor, and then as you see here on the pictures, a movable reactor plant, first pilot plant, and we moved directly towards the customers, because in our perspective, it needs to be an easy plug and play unit. It needs to be tested in the environment where it actually produces later on. And here you see, for example, a wastewater treatment plant in Germany, where we just plugged in on the exhaust gas chimney and also connected with water, and the reactor actually works as calculated. So we are quite lucky on that. And this gave us the indication and also the assurance that we can basically, with one technology, provide to conquer two markets in the end of the day. Depending on the CO2 source, whether it's biogenic or non-biogenic, we can produce either certificates, which can be then traded and sold, or helps the industrial partner or customer to decarbonize or to reach the individual decarbonization goals. And this is actually, I think, the difference that we to many other market partners, that we can capture and store, and this, by depending on the CO2 source, produce either certificates and or help decarbonization. And we have already found a lot of industrial players which are, as you said, also said, Marco, interested in looking beyond existing technologies, which are highly CapEx and or OpEx intensive. So we looked in different kind of fields, different kind of industries, whether it's wastewater treatment plants, but also classical industry like steel, cement, lime producing industries. So there's a huge variety of partners which already using our technology in preparation and discussions at the end of the day. And as a company, the question is always how can you and what can you offer in the end of the day for the customers and for the solving the big problem. And of course, depending on the source, as I said before, we can either produce a net negative, a certificate. We have a long-term storage. 10,000 years is a little bit on the shorter term here. It goes either more in the direction of 100,000 years, and is proved by the natural given process in the end of the day. We have a clear approach for our MRV, which is, we always joke around and say this is 49% of our product. But it's very controllable because due to the fact that what the exhaust gas system gives us from the partner or customers, what goes through our system from the technical point of view, and what is then monitored in the release in the rivers and or oceans can be quite monitored, very, very detailed. Due to the fact that we are looking on technology, which is partially already on shelf products, we can have a very CapEx and OpEx oriented low cost approach for capture and storage in the end of the day. And we can scale it quite easily because there are suppliers which are producing a certain kind of sub technologies which we are using, which is on shelf available all over the world. And as also Marco said before, our co-benefit is that the product, the water, what we release into the river and oceans, basically has a co-benefit that we are fighting the ocean acidification. As more tonnages or water we release as better, but we are starting with a small approach in the end of the day. And this is what we offer to our customers, to our partners in the end of the day as a company. There's a lot of work still left, but we see a very positive feedback of industrial partners which are looking for a solution where they don't have a huge cost impact, and even more, they don't have to dig deep in their own processes to adjust the processes to have a plug and play unit. This is the feedback what we get, and which we are discussing with investors as well. So if you want to have more information about us, don't hesitate to contact us.